And here we go. Whoops. Hey, everybody. I just wanted to give a quick rundown of some new features that are in Gut for the new release of Godot 4.5. This is Gut 9.5. And they've made a lot of changes that have allowed me to implement some features, and I've also got in here and done a couple things. So I wanted to show you guys what's going on. First things first is there is now an About box. It's got a bunch of useful links. You can click them, you can take you places, and it tells you what version of Gut you're running, and that's about it. You can make a donation if you like. I appreciate it. Some people have made donations. It's amazing, and thank you very much. But yeah, that's about all there is to the About box. It's just links and nothing else. The next thing on the list is shortcuts. We've got shortcuts, and these shortcuts, we've got more shortcuts. There were shortcuts. Now there's new shortcuts, and shortcuts work all the time. They used to only work when the Gut panel was showing, but now they work all the time. So these are the shortcuts that I've set. A new one is Run at Cursor. This will run the most specific thing based off where your cursor is. So the rightmost button in the Gut bar, if you will. You can rerun what you ran last time, and you can also toggle windowed. Toggle windowed or make floating. I don't know which sounds better. Make floating toggled window. Anyway, you can make it floating. And of course, it goes to the wrong screen. And there we go. Also, you will see some shortcuts down here, and I am going to... what am I doing? There we go. Finally remembered my shortcut to put Gut back in as a panel. So, in case you see some weird shortcuts or some weird stuff going on, if I go over here, editor settings, you're going to see a lot of Command J's and some Shift Command J's and some Command backslashes and some Shift Command backslashes. And so that's what I've got those mapped to. They may be default. I'm not sure. So there's some, there you go. Okay. You're going to see some Command 1s. You're going to see some Command 9s and some Shift Command 9s. Those are my shortcuts for running tests. Okay. That is, the shortcuts work all the time because we have a menu. And all the shortcuts get applied to the menu. And so there you go. The next feature I want to show you is run mode. There are two new run modes. In editor is the default and the way it's always worked. But now you can kick off your test externally as if you were running them from the command line. And in here, you can specify any Godot or Gut options from the command line. And if you don't know what options exist, well, you can hit this button, and then come down here into the output panel, and it shows you all of the options that exist. So now let's get into some of the reasons why that feature is useful and some of the new stuff that we can do with Gut. So if I go with test, demo errors, and errors, scripted errors. Okay. Script that errors has two methods in it. One that generates a push error and one that just divides recklessly. It doesn't care what you give it. It's just going to try and divide it. And if you give it bad stuff, that's probably going to generate an error from the engine. So let's go over in here first and show what we have for this. Okay, actually you want to see it here. So there we go. And we can see that our test failed with an unexpected, an unexpected push error. And the text of that is, what did you expect to happen? So you can see that we failed because we had an unexpected error. We can now add an assert push error. which will check to see if that happens. And if I run this, cool, it passes. That's great. Okay, now we can come down here and we can do divide recklessly. I run that and the debugger kicks in. And that's what we would expect because, you know, int and string are not divisible. So you got to hit that, and then we see that we failed due to an unexpected error. We also get an error over here showing what happened. Now, if we expect that error to happen, we would go ahead and assert that the engine errored. And assert engine error and push error both either accept a string that to look for or a count. That might be too witty and could change in the future. Okay. So the problem is that whenever we run this test, the debugger's going to get, the debugger's going to kick in, and we're going to have to babysit it. But if you run things externally, the debugger is never enabled. And so now we can run this test, and it's running it externally. It was on the other screen. I didn't have time to bring it down. And we can see that our script error shows up inside of our output. Let's close this. And so the script error appears in the output. We don't have anything in the debugger. And our test ran fine. So that's one use for running externally. Now, one feature that Godot has had for a while is should skip script. And should skip script will skip your script. And if you return true or a string, it'll skip the script. Otherwise, it won't skip the script. And this is how you could skip a script if the debugger is active. And so now we can run this here while we're in externally blocking mode. And all of our tests run. It showed up on the other window. And everything's fine. But if we go back to the editor and we run this script, we can see that this script was skipped. And also, if the only thing you run is a skip script or nothing at all, you get this error. And so maybe that's a bug. Who knows? Okay, let's move on to the next thing, which is the new orphans. New orphan handling. New orphanage-ish stuff. Okay. Close these. Let's open up orphan and the orphan generator. Okay, the orphan generator, it's just a node, and it's got a method that will create an instance of something and return it, and there you go. So prior to this release of Godot, all that Gut could show you was the count of orphans that have happened. And now we can show a little more information. So here, we are making an instance of the orphan generator. We are setting its name. We call the thing that makes a thing, and then we don't do anything with it, and then we don't free this or what comes back from that, and we pass the test. So now if we run this test, we see that there were 27 total orphans. So here's the total orphans. I don't know why it does that. Here's the total orphans that happened. Here is a post-run list of all the orphans that happened during the entire run. And that says 27. And then we can go here and see the actual test that ran, which was the only test that ran. And that it generated 27 orphans. But only two things are listed. And the cool thing about what's listed is that we get a bunch of information about what those orphans are. So we can see that the name that we gave it is here. And the script that it came from is listed. So that makes tracking things down a little easier. Also, we get the same thing with this one, and we get a +9. And that +9 is telling you that there are children of that thing that are not freed, because Godot is just going to give you back all the orphans that are out there, regardless of whether or not they have a parent. So one thing that's useful to do when you're trying to track down your orphans is to run Godot with verbose. And if we go over here and run externally, we can put, not that one, this one. We can put the verbose flag in, And now when we run this test, we get a bunch of output back. And here we go. Whoops. String names. All kinds of string names. What could I have possibly done wrong to generate this many string names? It's all string names. As far as the eye can see, it's just, oh, here's some resources. Here's some errors. What else? Now we've got some more leaked instances. We've got some paths down here, but I don't remember making any of these things. I don't know why there's a font here. All right, more leaked in. Now we've got, oh no. We are leaking 8 N10 render RD14 texture storage, 7 texture ease. What could I have possibly done to do that? Well, Gut's going to tell you a little bit more information. It's just going to be like, hey, listen, there's a bunch of stuff out there, but I'm just going to tell you about these two because they're most likely the cause. And also, well, don't give me a lot of grief about the fact that this number and this number don't really match. Oh, man. I don't know why I let people type down here. That should probably be disabled, but I'm not going to disable it. Okay. So we're just... Gut's like, hey, I don't know what's going on, but these guys are sticking around and they got some children, and you should probably free those. And that's what we get with this test right here. This test is basically the same thing as the other one, except that we will free the orphan generator and we retain a reference to the control, and we free that at the end. So now if we run this test, there you go. That's all of the, this is all of the extra info that came from verbose. So it was just those two things. And we don't have to worry about that 17N texture RE14 that we leaked. It was just those two. So that was the quick rundown of the new Gut features in Gut 9.5 for Godot 4.5. Thank you.